this is what I was using. It's just a broomstick. Actually works pretty well. Not super flexible, but works for the most part. But it's only 5 feet long, so you're kind of limited to 3 foot or less of water with this. So I ordered the 8-foot fiberglass tree stake. This is supposed to be 3/4 of an inch on Amazon.com, thanks to the idea from a couple other Jack's Kayak Fishing Forum members. So I ordered that. With shipping, it was $18, and it's 8 foot. So that gives me a lot more depth to be able to deal with. I've done some pre-staging for some of this, so you're not sitting here for like 20 minutes watching. I'm sure it's really riveting material to see anyways, but so I just sanded the end here just to take the finish off, because it's got a finish to it. I wasn't sure if I was gonna coat it with anything, because I didn't know how it was gonna come, and we all know how much fun fiberglass is to deal with. So I just sanded just to finish off the end here, and on the other end I already ground it to a point, because I assume most everybody knows how to use a grinder. All I used was angle grinder and just kind of work it to not a point like a needle point, obviously, but I guess I can show you. So this is the point I worked it to. I'm not sure how it's going to do as far as poking into oysters and stuff like that. So this will be part of the experiment. I guess there's enough length here to where if it doesn't work, I have to chop it off, or if it splinters, I can sacrifice, a foot or so. I'd rather not, but worst case scenario, I order another blank. I mean, $18 is not that it's not a lot of money, but it's not enough to like lose sleep over. So once I ground it down to a relative point, then I just used some wet ink sandpaper and sort of smoothed it out, and it looks okay. I'm sure it looks better on camera than it does in person. You see in person, it's a little lumpy, but it's not winning any glamour shot photo awards, that's for sure. I don't care either way, to be honest with you. So I'm setting this thing here. So then I pre-cut. I got this is technically 3/4 of an inch. This, when I ordered it, was supposed to be 3/4 of an inch. This is 3/4 inch PVC, which obviously it sits on there pretty loosely. Let's see if I can turn this down a little bit so you can see it just a little bit better. But this is supposed to be 3/4 inch fiberglass tree stake, but this is 3/4 inch PVC. Apparently it's not the same diameter, so I went 1/2 inch, which, as it turns out, 1/2 inch is still, it's still a little bit too big. It's still, this is 3/4 inch PVC, so it's still pretty big on there. 1/2 inch is still a little bit too big, So my plan is, on the inside of the T is just a little bit of a lip. Basically, it's the stopping where when you put your 1/2 inch PVC in there, it hits that lip and it stops, so you don't push it all the way through. But this actually catches on that lip, so I'm going to wedge it in there until it hits that lip and just kind of force it in there a little bit, just to basically lock it in on that lip. To glue it down, I got a marine epoxy. And the reason I picked this is because on the package, which I have right here, fiberglass, aluminum, glass, PVC. So the reason I got it is because I said fiberglass and PVC, because I wasn't sure how PVC cement was going to work. And oddly enough, to glue some of my PVC together, I've got umpteen cans of primer, and I've got one dried up can of the actual cement, so apparently I'm going to have to be using this for the PVC as well, which according to this it should work just fine. We'll find out. So I pre-cut everything, so you don't have to watch how that process went, but you know, I'm sure everybody knows how to cut PVC. You know, you ultimately use anything to cut it. I've used paracord because I saw it on YouTube, so I tried it. It worked. So this is going to be the T-handle end. I cut just enough PVC to basically form this setup right here, because this is all I really need is just a little bit of a stepping all over crap here. Of course, I've got stuff everywhere. I refuse to put things away. So this is ultimately what I'm going to be ending up with for a handle, because I'm not going to use it so much as a push pull. It's only 8 feet. It's more for stakeout. I mean, maybe I'll use it for push pull. Who knows? Sure I'll find something out there, maybe spear a bird or something weird. Probably not, but so this is ultimately what I'm going to end up with for a T-handle. So I pre-cut basically the inner pieces that are going to hold the caps together. Now, I know I see a lot about, or I hear a lot about people dropping these things in the water and losing them. So the theory is to take this piece of pool noodle, jam it into the end of this, and maybe it'll be at least float enough to keep the end up. I mean, obviously it's not going to hold this whole thing up because it's not super necessary that the whole thing floats. Now the wood, this wood one, it floats. So when it comes undone, it floats. It's like a log in the water. So I got this to jam in here. Is it going to work? I don't know. So basically, you got my 2-part epoxy. Pre-mix this stuff here on my brownie box. Using a screwdriver because I need something a little stronger mixes. So just mixing my 2-part epoxy here. Not super concerned about cutting this entire thing because I'm not really going for structural integrity. I just need it to pretty much just glue together. And how it chooses to do that is kind of up to it on its own accord. Figure that it can work out the kinks itself. So put that pre-cut piece sewn in there. Put the end cap. So it's got some overlap there. So I'll just wipe it off with this rag here. Like I said, I'm not going for show quality piece. I just need it to, I don't even need it to weather seal. I just need it to somewhat stick together. Because when I'm out there, I'm not sitting there like messing with it. So that's a 1. Then I'm going to take this pool noodle piece. Of course, I probably should have put that in there first, because now it's going to be stupid difficult. take a second piece. And then just, I know there's other videos on YouTube of people doing this, and I've never actually made one of these. It's almost like you watch enough videos, of course, get this crap all over me, only makes sense. You watch enough videos, you're like, oh, I could be an expert. Probably not. So this is, again, it's not perfect coat, but it's on there enough. That's all it really needs to be. Putting it on the cap here. It's got burrs on it. Stupid thing. And now, this, I suppose I should have planned ahead a little bit, but basically putting on this pool noodle. I mean, pool noodle is giving me some resistance. So there's, oh, you stupid turd. Good enough, really. I mean, that apparently is the other way to make it fit. Beat it with a hammer. So that's essentially, that's what I did. And now I'm just cleaning off the rest of the stuff here, the epoxy that has come out. How'd you like that pool noodle? Of course, all over me. It's probably going to be all over my clothes. I guess that's what happens when you don't fold your rag up, you just wad it up. You know, put stuff all over you. So that's essentially the end here. Really not that much to it. Really, and it's got a little bit of weight to it, so maybe that'll help add a little bit of pressure pushing it down. So now just the only other process is the epoxy it onto the fiberglass. Like I said, I sanded it to get the finish off, so it should give it a good bonding surface. I don't have a whole lot of epoxy here, so I'm going to mix some more. It's almost like I'm not strong enough to get it down. I'm like, give me some pliers. Come on, get out. Don't be difficult. Put the cap on because stuff will just freaking make a huge mess. So now we'll just mix this two-part epoxy here. And this isn't rocket science really. And we're already at 14 minutes, so I guess I lied on the whole 20-minute bit. Basically just going to fill this cavity here full of epoxy. Since there is a gap, I'm trying to put it up to where it'll fill the gap. And is this going to be too much? I don't know. This is going to be an experiment. So that's you're definitely not going to be able to see, but I'll show you anyways. But that's a little pocket is slam full of epoxy. So a little epoxy rag here. I'm basically just smoothing over like, I guess like a caulk essentially. Kind of leaving some excess on there, just to that's pretty much it. This rag's gonna be a little trash. So that's essentially it. It looks pretty straight. I don't really care too much, but that's pretty much it. That's as far as making it goes. That's what I've come up with, and let's see if I can get this thing to turn around without banging everything in the dang garage. But this, if you can see, oops, shoot. I basically just try to smooth it out a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's not super runny, so it's staying. So we'll leave it like that, let it set up. I'm sure it'll work. So that's how that end is going to go.